Hello, everyone, and welcome to another horrific review. I'm joined once again by Cameron and Adam as we continue our journey along the filmography of Clive Barker. Today, we're discussing Candyman. Released in 1992, this movie is based on Barker's short story, The Forbidden. The film follows a Chicago graduate student completing a thesis on urban legends and folklore, which leads her to the legend of Candyman, the ghost of an African American artist and the son of a slave who was murdered in the late 19th century for his relationship with the daughter of a wealthy white man. The movie was made in a budget of $9 million and brought in $26 million at the box office. Needless to say, I think this one was a wee bit of a success. So we're not going to spend this episode going through, it's the studio's fault. I think.
No, this movie
has been this series so far, for the most part.
Yeah, this is one of those just heralded as cult classic. Everyone has seen it, has loved it, including Clive Barker. So, I mean, it's good.
Yeah, no, he was all about this movie.
Yeah.
It's funny because it's actually, we're talking about Bernard Green. No.
Bernard Rose.
That was the other one. This actually happened just after Nightbreed, and he approached Barker for the rights to make the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And once again, the storyline's a complete departure from the original story, The Forbidden. Like
I don't know if it's complete. I mean,
I don't know.
It's adjacent.
Yeah, it hits all the main.
I hate that word. Fuck off.
You don't like adjacent?
No, because you Yanks fucked it up and put it into your stupid politics and shit.
What?
Another word destroyed.
What are you talking about?
You're that adjacent. It's like, fuck.
There's a big difference between
start your civil war and kill each other already. Fuck's sake.
Us.
Before you destroy
they ruin everything.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I feel like I just walked into the room and I didn't know. Like everyone's having an orgy. I'm just like, oh, I just needed to pee.
Shut up, put your penis there.
I'm sure somebody
we accept that too.
There's your parking spot between those cheeks.
Yeah, no, I feel like it's stuck pretty true. I mean, of course, there's very distinct differences. You know, like it takes place not in Chicago, the original story, and I thought it was interesting that they changed...
you're talking backwards. Yeah, my bad.
Yeah, like that they changed completely what she was doing in school, because in the short, she's doing a thesis on graffiti.
Yeah,
and that's how she winds up there. And in this, it's specifically on urban legends, which I think is a better choice, honestly.
Yeah, really? I kind of like.
do.
I like the stumbling into the lore rather than the seeking out of it.
Yeah, but I feel like it would almost need to take a little bit longer, like to build up to that.
The short story was very short, and
that's true.
It did a brilliant job of.
That is
presenting the whole thing. I mean, there's a note that I'm sure we'll get to in a second that Colin put in there about how it felt like the relationship with Trevor was a bit of a filler. That's because it was. There's a lot in this film that is a filler, and I'm not complaining about the film at all because I love it. But you can very much feel like they needed to add extra content in order to flesh out this movie and make certain characters care about other characters or add dramatic consequence to actions, when if you just followed the short story, you didn't need any of that. It could have just been a great little uncovering.
Well, I feel like it kind of works out in a sense, because like in the short story, it's literally written out that he's a cunt. And just blatantly like, oh yeah, you know, he's off with 1 or 2 or 5 of his fucking mistresses right now.
What?
And
did we read a different story?
I think so, because
I don't remember any cheating.
Yeah, he was
like at all. I mean, they went out with colleagues and friends.
Hold on, let me.
And they were like,
shut
up,
strange relationship. It was like kind of It wasn't really brought it. It wasn't
I mean,
really
the
a big
films they definitely
focus.
did, but yeah,
that's
that's what I liked about it, is that it didn't focus on the turmoil of their relationship outside of the fact that he just didn't believe what she was believing.
Well, and God, that was a separate version of being a cunt. Like the whole time, like, oh, you're a fucking stupid
it's
girl.
Cunt adjacent.
And yeah, it's cunt adjacent. Yeah, that shit was funny. Maybe I was confusing. I have a tendency to read like 7 books at a time, so
Yeah, that
might have been adding that into something.
Yeah.
Still, it's like I don't know. I didn't get quite the feel. Like I feel like if he wasn't as much of a dick in the end, well, no, because he wasn't at the bonfire.
At the end, he was, and not in the film, but in the short
well,
story,
that's
he was at the
in
bonfire.
the story. He
for
is.
her.
Yep.
Yeah.
So never mind. I forgot where I was going with that, but
No, it's just
don't read a bunch of books.
Obviously,
at the, same
the movie needs that. But know what it's like when you're translating from book to film or if something's a short story. You need to add a few bits in.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I was just wondering, that seemed like a bit of a tangent to go on as opposed to focusing on the uncovering, because there's plenty there, especially when we get to like the second and the third act of this, where Candyman himself, that whole interplay between the two, him and Helen, was brilliant.
God.
That's where the movie really comes alive, because if that
Yeah.
hadn't happened, this could have been a bit of a dud.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But the whole movie just, it's worth the wait, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I think that's. Oh, good.
He Bernard definitely earns that, like where he gets the big scare out from the beginning, and then you've got like 20-30 minutes of nothing, just story building, but it works so brilliantly.
Yeah, I thought the part that they sort of scrapped from the book was the greatest, or the short story was the greatest part of the short story, and it was the disbelief. And that was the whole purpose of Candyman having to kill again, so that people believed in him. They addressed it, but they didn't pay it off in the film, whereas in the short story, it was the whole purpose. Like her trying to convince her friends that this is a real legend, and then them completely disbelieving her, which causes her to go back and uncover all the crazy, insane shit, and then get intimately involved in it. Like, I thought that was paid off so much better in the short story, whereas in the film, I never thought about it much until you read the short story, and then you're like, oh, that is a gaping hole. Like, why is she so ready to believe this when they literally have never shown you any evidence of it? And it seems like almost a misdirection when we get to the little boy with his junk cut off, because that has nothing to do with anything. That's like
that is so much scarier in the fucking book too.
It is. It really
like
is.
it's so suspenseful, and in that it's just like a little blip.
Who is going to walk through a bathroom like that? Shit caked on the walls.
I smelled that scene.
Yeah. The thing is,
actually, I think I was eating it. I was like, you have to set down your food. You're like,
yeah, it's
just have that moment. And I'm a big lad. I can put stuff away, and like I can power through a lot of situations. But bloody hell, that is just like, no. Well,
it's definitely one of those scenes that really, really pays off. Having a God, what is it? I can't remember if they did a 2K or a 4K upgrade from an original print, but yeah,
I've never seen that.
You get that, dude. Oh my God, it's fucking great. But anyways, that texture only makes it so much worse, like in higher resolution.
Yeah, it was really bad because, like, when you lean over the toilet at the very last toilet stall and you just see a pile of poo on the side, it's just like, we just need to throw a little extra just in case you didn't want to vomit yet. I was just like, I can't.
Like what?
Like out of nowhere. Why? I don't like. What's the purpose of that scene? Even in the story, it doesn't really pay off, other than to say that there's a whole bunch of weird myths surrounding this community that none of them have any intimate connections with.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's one of those like lost tribes, in the modern world, and that's the whole thing. Like in the original story, it's a Liverpudlian council estate. The thing over here, we don't have the projects. It's a completely different mindset. The idea behind the council estate is obviously government, government housing, but they're built next to nice neighborhoods as well. The reason being that there's an incentive to maintain, because obviously if the council estate goes to shit, then the house property goes down. So it's almost about a social engineering, if that makes sense.
Right.
And also not to separate within the classes, because then if you're looking across, you see the nice house, then you're like, oh, hold on, that's only across the road from me. That's possible. And it was
Yeah.
that whole, it's all part of the Industrial Revolution and that sort of mentality of, social mobility, even in a really strict class system, which we have
I
over
was gonna
here.
say that's very counterintuitive to the culture of the UK.
Yeah,
Right.
we are an anomaly. The British culture is a complete anomaly. There's contradictions all over the place. So on one hand, you've got it, like a really strict class system. So if you're born in a certain class, that's it. You are fighting. And it doesn't matter what shade you come in or whatever else. It's just if you're born in that, you're by your postcode essentially, and what school you go to, that's it. You're kind of, it's really hard to break out of that. But on the other hand, there's also, there's a battle against that, and there's these like opposing forces. So the counter is that you've got the whole thing of the council state, because there was these thing called tenement blocks, and I think in the 60s they were built and they were proven just to be absolutely horrendous. So they were gotten rid of.
Yeah.
Because it just made life worse, because it just, that they're just havens for crime. The big high-rise flats and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they were, when did they go? They went in the sort of 80s. So the whole idea of the council estate and that changed. But yeah, places like Liverpool and all, like the north of England, were kind of destitute anyway. So everyone was kind of in the same boat. And it just these ideas just try and reduce the misery, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Americans prefer to hide it.
Yeah,
We
I know.
stuff in certain parts of town and don't look.
I mean that's just goes with every facet of American culture. Like the bad parts, no, that doesn't exist.
Yeah, put them in an insane asylum. They're coughing too much, hysteria.
Yeah.
Like, don't talk about them. Yeah.
Took your land. No, you have your own little patch over
would
there.
This have translated at all then? If it had been set in the original council state, would it have translated your side of the pond or an international audience? Would people have got it, or would it just not have made sense?
I think, well, it's the racial component that works for transporting it to US. Without that racial component, I don't think it matters. I think it could literally be set anywhere, and it's still a solid story, because of course the novel or the short story didn't say anything about race or anything, but it just
it was
adds
not
that
until 15 years ago. It was not a thing.
Yeah. Wait, what wasn't a thing?
The race thing over here.
Oh, really?
No, because it was, not only just percentages, but we had a completely different attitude.
Yeah.
But we've imported racism thanks to you fuckers.
Hey,
so, cheers for that. You're welcome.
Hey, we got it from you guys first. Let's just put that shit out.
Who was colonizing the world?
Yeah.
Let's and that was completely done equally. With just a target, job done.
Yeah.
So there was
the EU that fucked up everything for you guys.
They're burning. They're still blaming Brexit for everything. It's so funny. And the EU is just fucking burning right now. It's in flames, literally on the streets. And you're like going, okay, yeah.
We can export all of our racial and social Molotov cocktails to you, and you can just throw them around. It's okay.
We got plenty.
Well, that's the problem, because it got imported into our system. The fucking does not. When you write a bad bit of code.
Yeah.
Well, this bad bit of code's going into our society, and it's just fucking. That's why
wait till we get the alternative Christian cultures over there too.
Oh my god,
we're gonna just sail them over on the Mayflower, and you can deal with it all yourself. We're done.
See, that seemed like a good idea. Let's get rid of our idiots on the boats away, and then a couple hundred years, these fucking inbred
didn't think it'd come back.
Yeah, it's like, hey, you know what? It worked on one island really well. Let's send them to a continent and see how that goes.
Yeah, that's great. So Candyman.
Yeah.
Well, it is relevant, you know what I mean? Because this is just completely different mindsets, cultures, different focuses. So the two stories, I think it would be confusing, because then you have to explain the council estate, you have to explain the class system and that, and then people spend more time scratching their heads at a quirky, because when people see films in the UK, they think of the countryside, they think of American Werewolf in London, think of the countryside and little, dog soldiers and all that. That kind of makes sense in people's head, but like the council estate and stuff just doesn't.
Well,
Talk
yeah,
about
because that
a
doesn't
4K
exist
release.
because it's not really in movies, right?
Yeah, that's it.
It's just everywhere. It's like you walk 5 paces and there's there's a
Some
old
hard-ass
little
candy.
inn where you're gonna get
Big
shitty.
man. There should be a parody, actually. Hookman.
Well, especially okay.
Maybe
Adam,
it was Homie
what
the
version
Clown.
did you watch last night, or when you watched?
I've only seen one version, the theatrical version.
Okay, so there is a little bit of a difference, which ironically enough, the runtime's the exact same. Like it's the exact same regardless of whether you're watching the UK cut or the US theatrical. But yeah, there's a fisting scene
What?
that we don't really get. Yeah, where the doctor gets like ripped from the back up. Like it's
I see
it
him
got
get cut. I don't see a fist.
yeah, he gets basically fisted. Like the sounds are a
Oh,
little
the
bit different.
psychiatrist, you mean?
Yeah, the psychiatrist. That's what. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that
He
was
is a
another
doctor.
version, wasn't it?
Yeah,
But-
that's the one I saw.
Well,
But
no, it still happens, but the sound is different for the
Oh,
US
really?
theatrical, and there's less blood in the US theatrical. Apparently,
Little
we
bit of
can
joy
handle
moaning.
violence, but not anal violence. At least
That
that's what
tracks.
the MPAA said in the, the
For
90s.
no anal violence, please. Weird. I didn't know that. I
Yeah.
kind of want to see that. You think they have little clips on YouTube? I should look that up.
Probably.
Candyman anal fist.
Yeah, just Google
Be
that.
my search browser. I'll just explain it to the wife. It'll be okay.
So the thing is, because I spent a lot of this movie getting into the backstory of Candyman himself, was that necessary?
No. I like it, but I don't think it's
I
Like
think
even
so,
I read
just-
that I should have went for the NDV version of the tagline because that was fucking long. I was
See, I
actually
feel
getting
like-
tired reading it about the whole blah 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 blah. I'm like fucking myself.
It works
But-
just in the sense that they had to add more running time to it. Just like the whole Harold and Helen dynamic.
Mhm.
Like they were just it's fluffing up the piece.
You mean
Yeah.
Trevor and Helen? Who's Harold?
Or yeah.
No, but Harold as well. We've got him.
Yeah,
We've got
yeah,
that
sorry,
weird
Trevor.
scene
That's,
we
I was
could
looking
talk
for the
about.
wrong line.
Who the hell is the Harold? What are you guys talking about?
Harold's the expert, the Candyman expert.
Yeah.
That
Oh.
Helen didn't think that apparently was sitting there the whole time,
Right.
and Helen gets randomly, "I'm gonna fuck you up. I'm gonna
Yeah.
fucking blow you out of water." Where the fuck is
That
this?
was
one?
weird.
Yeah.
I can't-
That was very much like that's like stereotypical feminism where there's no substance behind anything. They're just like, I'm a girl, so I'm gonna take you out.
Like, why? Oh, by the way, did you do any research? No.
Right.
Yeah, how are you going
Bring-
to bury me if you don't even know the stories? And then he's just like, here's the story. Let me help you.
Yeah. I
Very
love that shit.
condescendingly mansplaining
Dude is such
Candyman.
an asshole, but it's so good.
But she started it.
Oh, yeah. She
He was just minding his own business.
And she deserved it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so
100%.
I would do exactly the
It
same.
was funny. It was like totally unnecessary. She
Yeah, 'cause-
clearly was out of her depth. She didn't know the
Yeah.
story behind it, and she was just making a statement of "I'm going to bury you." What is it like competing banjos here? Like,
But
this is
he's
just what you
already
do with your
doing his
thesis?
thing, and she's. I mean, there was not like they're
Like
competing for
years
a
ago,
job or
he
anything.
finished his thesis, and so she's just like, "I'm going to fuck yours up."
Yeah,
yeah,
We're gonna
that's
read mine, and
it's like she wasn't even a part of the conversation up until that point.
yeah,
Where Trevor brought up that she was doing something else for her thesis, and then she joins the conversation, and it's like, man, this fucker you're arguing with, that's literally his job, is to know this shit, and you're gonna all of a sudden be better than him. Come on.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I loved the backstory. I thought it was a wonderful addition to the mythology of Candyman as a character to sort of ground him. But, like The Shape and Halloween, you don't really need that backstory in order to make it a terrifying presence.
Mm.
And in this particular case, I think it worked a little bit better because of the romantic aspect, because Helen is straight up seduced by Candyman in this. And that's what I love so much about the portrayal of it, is he's seducing her into being a victim. Whereas if there was not that love story backdrop at all, whether or not she's a reincarnated version of his fucking first girl or not, it'd just drop all that bullshit. But just the idea of him being a sensual human that then comes back and continues that legacy in order to stay alive through legend. And that's great. That's a wonderful talking point for a story,
Well, and I think it also set up perfectly what the sequel that we never got should have been.
Right. Yeah.
Especially the end credit scene where it's, she's now on the wall.
Yeah.
Like it's a shame that the proper sequel never happened, that it was just, oh well, Tony Todd's a big imposing scary man, let's make him kill more people. Well, it's like, no, it should have been Helen.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's what I was wondering. Was she his replacement, or was he gathering acolytes?
That's what it
spread
should
his
have been.
tail through different areas, so he can leave the confines of where he was.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, like the mythology. I don't think it explained the mythology very well, if it ever tried to, because I still don't understand the mechanics of it, especially with the new film. Just confused me more.
Oh
Mhm.
god!
So,
And also the fact that arsehole had access to Tony Todd because he's still acting and didn't fucking use him, but used a CGI render him off him. Fuck
I mean,
Jordan
he
Peele.
had him ADR that part.
I
Fuck
liked
Jordan
that
Peele.
film. I enjoyed it for what it
Yeah.
was. It just
Fuck Jordan
confused
Peele.
me more. I'm getting a theme.
Fuck Jordan Peele. Cunt.
Oh, jeez.
And also the freaking making a 12 with fucking all the violence off screen when we've got this right in your face, not arsing about.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's almost like the director here, he added new lore to expand the
Oh, for
story,
sure. Yeah.
which is cool.
Mhm.
And the fact that Barker was happy with it for once
Yeah.
was
Yeah, that's
cool.
always a plus.
Yeah, that's, when has this ever happened in this entire series?
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't think that's ever happened.
No.
And it is a testament to the director and writer, I mean, how good he is, but how well he understood Barker's core theme of the
Mhm.
short story. I thought it just paid off beautifully. And if we just divorce the story from the cinematography and the music, I think it can stand on its own and be very, very interesting. But you start layering in the shit that they
Oh my
layered
God.
in, fucking Philip Glass.
Well, dude, and
knocked it out of the park.
just the cinematography alone,
Yeah.
like Homeboy knew exactly what he wanted from the get-go, and he hired old school Hollywood to get that proper, like, German noir filming. Like, that's the thing. If you watch this movie and by the end of it you're not madly in love with Virginia Madsen,
Oh yeah.
you weren't paying attention at all.
Oh yeah.
Like
I
they,
was madly in love with the bathtub scene.
oh my God,
Oh my
just anything. Like she is just
It was the
absolutely
cop
stunning.
scene for me.
I wanted to buy
Bloody
some of
bra.
her bathwater.
Dude, it's so
should have
funny too.
She should
because-
have done the Amaranth thing and like started bottling up that bathwater. Honestly, she would have been sorted. Never had to work again.
Yeah, right.
Oh, man.
Well, it's so funny because Bernard goes on to talk about in the commentary how the police scene, like he shot it as dirty and just terrible as possible, so it wasn't an erotic thing for anybody. You were supposed to appreciate just like the despair that she's in, and it's like, I didn't get that at all, buddy. I got the exact opposite.
Yeah, I got what you were trying to avoid, but I understood.
It's like she's
what you
just
were trying
covered
to
in
get.
blood, and it's like, huh, I hope this doesn't unlock something in me, because I think it might.
Oh, it unlocked. I knocked it off.
I think he picked the wrong actress if he didn't want to give that message.
Yeah.
She's so gorgeous. Her skin is flawless. She's beautiful. I mean, she did
It's just not
such a
plastic.
great job. Yeah.
See these plastic fucking stick things that are run about,
Especially
like,
in modern
like,
films,
no,
for
yeah,
sure.
like there's nothing there. But her and the actress that was in the Reanimator,
Barbara
Right.
Crampton.
Barbara.
yeah, just they're the epitome for me for absolutely gorgeous women.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Just and they're not plastic, super gem toned. They're just beautiful women.
Mhm.
Yeah, they're
And
normal.
Yeah, normal,
Yeah.
beautiful women, and I just appreciate it. And the fact that they
Right, well,
share
and that's-
themselves with us.
I think that's part of what makes them beautiful, is the fact that they are like they're natural. Like in Barbara Crampton, aged so fucking well. Like I watched Suitable Flesh, like 2 weeks ago, and that was filmed last year or whatever, and still stunning.
Oh, that's great. She has had work though, right?
I don't
Crampton?
think so.
Really?
No. A lot of holistic shit because she had a lot of health problems in
okay.
the 90s, but
good for her.
yeah.
She's
Well, it's like Joan Collins. Joan Collins didn't bother having any work.
Joan Collins. I'm trying to place her in my head.
Yeah.
She's like an old soap opera star, right?
Wasn't it Dynasty or something?
I can't remember.
Actually, she's old school actor. Gone now.
That's what I like about. It's just there's an era of
yeah.
that, of that just sort of the classic woman that is just holding her own and aging in her own way, and in almost every case, it's beautiful and it works. It's when they try to stay this sort of 18-year-old weirdness that completely fucks everything up. And I don't know why people think that others like it, or why anyone who would like it does, because it doesn't make sense to me.
Well, the Hollywood fart bubble makes no sense to anybody outside the Hollywood fart bubble. So
you smell it.
Yeah.
Waft it.
Smells like avocado.
Avocado toast. No, I mean, we got to call it out because Anthony Richmond, who did the cinematography, fucking nailed it.
Yeah.
I mean, whoever did all those paintings and the set designs were amazing. I mean, they fucking just killed it. Everything they put together. And
none of this feels like a set.
Exactly. It feels
and all of it is a set, pretty much.
Yeah, but it doesn't fit. It actually feels like they've taken over a tenement block.
Yeah.
And just went, we're going to film here. I almost got the feeling in my head that they're bumping cameras again, trying to get them upstairs and stuff. You just have that feeling. You don't, everything today feels like green screen.
Yeah.
Even if it's not, it feels like it's fucking done in front of a fucking pile of shit soundboard. It's horrible. This feels as if they've actually went into somebody's house and they've actually knocked down walls, and they've you could almost feel the awkwardness of the camera trying to get round with them, which was, where do you see that today?
Right. And they did get that shit like on point, like almost the claustrophobia of being in such a small. Well,
the first scene where Helen's get in and Bernadette's covering for her, and she's trying to crawl through that wall. You actually feel like you're going through it with her.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And you're worried. You're
time.
like, oh fuck, what's on the other side? Like, oh, is she gonna run across someone or something? I mean, the whole thing was great.
And not even Candyman, but just being in that environment, because you already got the sense of it.
Yeah.
Of these people will bury you and not think twice.
Yeah. Yeah, like that's almost scarier than the fucking literal monster that's gonna get you.
Well, what's crazy is those are actual gang members. Like they had, in order to film there, they had to pay off the gang members in order to be in the film in order to shoot there, which is crazy, but awesome. And it shows how goofy gang members looked in the fucking 80s whenever this was filmed.
Right.
That's the white socks and flip flops and the string vests are so brilliant today. The modern
the windbreakers and the hats. It's like, man,
it's never
nowadays if you walked up to me looking like that, I'm gonna laugh at you. You're gonna kill me probably, but I'm gonna laugh in your fucking face. Back then, like they only did, I think, like 2 or maybe 3 days like actually at Cabrini Green, just because of the fact that it was not safe, and like they had the security there the whole fucking time, and still everybody was terrified.
Yeah, it's just so funny. But
it actually translates well.
Yeah,
because obviously if that's the film on set, do you know what we've talked about? If the atmosphere on set can translate on the film, or the attitude can translate, that's from director down. And when studio interference happens and the vibe changes, you can actually see it on screen. That sense of fear and oppression and oh shit was there.
Yeah, it's nice because the only studio interference with this was the fucking baby, because the only note that they kept giving was, well, what's going on with the baby? Where is the baby? And it's like, you find out at the fucking end of the goddamn movie, but they forced him after principal photography to go through and shoot a couple of flashback scenes with the child so that everybody knew that the baby was still alive.
I think there should be a clause in the contract.
Mm-hmm.
For every dollar of profit made after expense for a movie should equal 1 punch to the studio's executive. If they interfere or open their mouths at all,
I can get behind that.
Every dollar should equal the director and the cast should get 1 punch each on the executives.
I agree. You know what? Actually, I heard that was one of the stipulations with the
that was
strike.
No, they're not that. See, here's the problem: actors aren't that smart.
That's funny.
So unfortunately, they can't think. That they just say what they're told. If they were smart, to be like going, do you know what? Actually, that's fine. You're going to ruin my career if it loses. Fair enough. But if it succeeds, I get revenge. And you never see these people.
No, of course not. Yeah.
That's the problem. We vent our anger at the actors and the directors because they're the visible side, but we'll never get a chance to have a go at the arseholes and behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And I think I'll be good. Actually, I'll be good after party video. Okay, so here is blah blah blah. This is what they've said.
Oh man, just make that all the special features,
and then that would but release that with that. You know what I mean? That would fucking,
oh man,
I'll have that, please. And then the studio makes more money, and then the arseholes that try to interfere get slowly pushed out because they get sick and tired of getting their faces punched in.
It'd be a great extra for the DVD release.
Definitely.
That's what I mean.
Making a fucking
even the normies
like a Criterion release where there's like 3 discs.
Yeah. One disc is just
fucking Disney would start making profits again.
Yeah. Imagine that. No, I was a little torn on the baby thing because I loved the fact that in the short story, Anne-Marie was in the room with her dead baby the whole time. And it was the dog that lived. And then we see it sort of flipped in the film and it doesn't resonate as much. Anne-Marie is our gateway into the entire tale of Candyman. Without her, there's no sort of foot in the door. And so for her to then willingly allow that legend to continue through the sacrifice of her daughter, or I think it was a boy, actually, it
was a wee boy,
who stuck a sucker in his fucking ear for safekeeping. I thought that was the funniest line in the first story.
I thought it was dumb at first. Then I'm like, I mean,
he's a kid.
I'll try it.
Anyway, so I just thought that was a great, so powerful moment. She's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I misspoke. There's nothing. Meanwhile, cut to dead child behind her. Oh, yeah. God, come on. That's so powerful.
Yeah, I did love that aspect where everybody's sharing everything, like all the stories. And then it's like, as soon as they realize, oh, fuck, he's here. Everybody's like, oh, who the fuck are you? What's the story? I don't know what you're talking about.
Never mind. It was so powerful. I do like, the whole side of the infant thing. Her waking up in the apartment covered in blood, I think it was a little too mystical for me. Because this entire story, yes, Candyman is a mystical creature, has been grounded in reality thus far. The only thing that was unbelievable for me was Raimi's brother there at the very beginning.
What? Oh, you mean the Billy Badass? Yeah, the guy that clearly she's cheating on her boyfriend with. Like, I mean, obviously.
Most unbelievable character ever.
You guys know this was like his first on-screen role, right? Like one of his first ones.
I believe it. I 100% believe it.
Like his acting was a tour de force. The fact that he got work after this is not surprising.
Oh my gosh, that character. Oh, it's the worst.
It was like a weird comedic scene.
Yeah, weird opener.
The thing that gets me every time is the way that he's drinking the beer. Like, goddamn, dude, spit on it first and then deep throat the fucker. Makes it go down a little bit easier.
Like he owns that drink.
Like, yeah.
I'm on TV.
Yeah. But it's just like her just appearing there. How did she get past the mom? The mom didn't like abandon the baby in the fucking apartment forever. So at what point was she able to get in there, get the baby, and get the fuck out? Yeah, I get it. Like Candyman came in and he anally fisted and killed the fucking psychiatrist and then flew backward out the window and stuff. So we know he can do fantastical things. But Helen has always been grounded in the reality. That's what makes it terrifying, is because you don't know what he's capable of, but we know what she is. So her just waking up there's like, well, wait a second. I don't know. For me, it didn't work.
I see it made sense for me, like especially further viewings and listening to like the commentary and shit. Like she was hypnotized. She was essentially possessed by him. So anything that he could do essentially translated into what he could do with her. So I always just kind of bought into her waking up, because especially in the scene before she blacks out and then wakes up there, like she's hypnotized by him.
Yeah.
Like anyone else would have been terrified. There would have been screaming, there would have been running and all that shit. And you just get that one single tear. That's the one aspect of her consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
The rest is all just subconscious reactions, like the subdued questions that she was asking, and then she goes out. So it's I don't know, for me it always kind of worked.
Yeah, but that was even disengaged in the logic centers, that was one of the most iconic scenes in horror.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like that was brutal, especially for the time, and that's bound to have sent audience members over the edge.
Mm-hmm.
Just seeing that dog's head. Fuck.
Yeah, man, it's not even remotely realistic looking, and it still fucks me up every time.
Yeah, they did a pretty good job.
Chaos.
No, it's good.
It's not like a sock puppet.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I just, it's such a brutal scene to look at, because I'm just like, oh, I wanted to pet that fucker.
Yeah, right.
You dicks. And that wasn't a one chop. They had to work at getting that thick ass neck off. Like, god damn it.
And the fact that she was taking on a Rottweiler.
Yeah.
That's, and then you got to ask a question: did she leave the Roddy with the baby on her own? Did she nip out or something?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But then she did, because she appeared, so she's regularly stepping out and leaving the dog with the baby and stuff. And could this all happen in like mere moments?
I suppose the baby was literally like in the sort of like the kitty corner apartment through the apartment next door. So, that's a quick trip for either Candyman or Helen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think you're meant to be confused. It's just utter chaos.
Yeah, I mean, we're experiencing it through Helen's eyes, so
Mm-hmm.
and she's totally fucking confused. So I think that's what makes it work so well. It's just upon critically thinking about it is where I start to get a little dissonance. But
no, get that, because logically it doesn't make sense. How did this happen,
mm-hmm.
or why, etc., etc.
Yeah.
She didn't have time to go and cut the dog's head off, steal the baby, go back, lie down, have a nap.
Yeah.
It just, the whole thing. So
the blood was warm at first.
Was Candyman operating independently as well? Got her to a point and then left with the baby, left her to hold and carry the can, so to speak.
That's got to be it. Yeah.
That'd be my guess.
We might be looking a little too deeply into it. But
he was offended. Well, she offended him, and that's why he decided to screw up her life.
Mm-hmm.
Because after she got knocked out, and she identified the gang member, and who was pretending to be Candyman, essentially it dispelled the myth, and this sent a wave of disbelief through the area, and that offended him.
Yeah.
So because he was offended, like gods, this is like a gods of old sort of thing.
Yeah.
Or the pantheon, like a Greek pantheon. It's, you offend a god, then it's going to start screwing with you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well, especially it makes perfect sense, especially when you consider what Candyman is. Like, he's a tulpa. He's literally a creation of people's consciousness. Like, and if people stop believing in him, he doesn't exist. So yeah, it makes perfect sense why you do it. Like, I'm gonna fuck up this white lady, and she's gonna carry on my legacy.
I loved it so much. I like the magical thinking involved in stories like this.
Mm-hmm.
It just reminds me of being a kid when there was magic in the world, Like, I just love that side of this type of storytelling, because it would be very easy to try to ground it into some sort of like,
well, that's where the backstory is about
slasher story,
Yeah, that's where the backstory of this is a bit unnecessary.
Yeah, I can see that.
I think it would be better if he was left the myth and legend of how he came to be in one story. Like the Joker's scars sort of thing.
Right.
There's 100 stories of how he came about. If maybe they told the one story, but maybe if another story popped up, because I had time to do this, because there was stuff that could have dialed back on. Like the whole Trevor thing could have dialed back on that. They could have dialed back on that dinner scene. They maybe could have smoked 90 less cigarettes. Like there's about 5 minutes of runtime.
Let's not get too
We
crazy.
need all the
Those were
cigarette
necessary.
How many people got lung cancer from taking part in this movie?
Dude, I got lung cancer just from fucking watching it. Shit. Like I watched that shit and it's like, God, how did I smoke like that back in the day? Like that just seems miserable at this point.
For real.
In public places, I remember like I came up with a family of chain smokers and I couldn't have any nice clothes because it just all smelled the smoke.
Yeah.
And people asked me, did I smoke? And I thought, do you know what? I may as well have done because I always smelled of it. And it's when I got my own place and finally got that smell out of me, I was like, oh, fuck, this is bliss.
There's nothing worse than stale smoke smell.
Yeah.
It just like permeating in the walls and blankets and stuff.
My
like
aunts, their ceilings were yellow. This is growing up 70s and 80s. Like their ceilings were yellow and their fingers, like my dad's fingers were like that.
Yeah, that's rough.
I remember my aunts and stuff, you know, there was saints fucking just that pure yellow, and that was normal. My mum still does it. She lights up the next one and she hasn't even finished the first.
Oh shit.
And just stands there and
oh shit. That's dedication. I couldn't.
Yeah.
I remember in high school, I like ran away in high school and stuff, and I smoked like a lot. And I would notice that if I took a drag, I'd have a yellow mark on my teeth just from the cigarette smoke. And I'd have to like wipe it away real quick because it was so gross, but I still kept smoking. So disgusting. And yeah, you get that stained yellow fingers and it's vile. It's like straight up vile. That's why I only do cigars now.
It's classy.
It's so classy. I like Carlin's take on it. He's like, it's a big brown dick. Like, okay, yep, it is.
But yeah, if they had a maybe like say 50, okay, we'll meet the middle. 50 less cigarettes smoked during this movie. They would have had time to maybe give another backstory to a contradicting backstory to the Candyman, which then would have lent more into the he's a myth, he's a legend, he doesn't have a straight line backstory. Because this is the bit I had the problem with in this movie because it was too straight line. Where in the short story, nobody knows his origins, and people guess and make up stories. And then that feeds into the legend, and that feeds into his belief. Where this, they were kind of he's this, and you're like, and even give him a name, and I'm like, why?
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they really didn't need it. I think it is because they have one foot in the race door. So why not just keep going? You know, I mean, I really do feel like because I watched this, what was it? I watched a show where it was people sort of heralding the idea of black cinema, like black horror film cinema. And this was one of those sort of like a representation thing where it was like, we have our bad guy now. You know, everyone else has their like cracker bad guys. We don't have anything. This was our first and greatest black bad guy. I can't remember where I saw it, but I think that's like why they would have gone full bore and like given him that backstory just to sort of nail it down.
And that's the thing with this, like with the backstory, is he really a bad guy though?
No, he's not. That's what's great about it.
He's an outcome. He's a product of the times. Like he didn't want that. He didn't need that. When he died, he should have just been dead.
But then that all gets erased when we get to like the second act, when basically Candyman and Tony Todd's performance is outstanding.
He's great
as a charismatic, villain.
Yeah.
And he's doing it purely to get the belief going, because then the motivation for what he's doing doesn't make sense with the backstory, and that's the bit that's kind of jarring. And it's been made for reasons. America needs that. You need to beat yourselves. Oh, race, oh yeah. Big bad races. Oh,
and let's not kink shame, okay?
Yeah, and that's where it takes away, because you've got an outstanding villain, and so he's black, big deal.
Yeah.
Fucking, this is where meritocracy comes in. And if you lean more on that, guess what? You have more. Where if you lean, this is where things get cheapened.
Yeah.
And I don't know where the sequels went. That's what I said. I can't remember them. If they went more into that, then yeah, that's probably why they've disappeared.
One of the sequels was like a little prequel film.
Yeah, so it's probably that's why I would watch it and forget.
I think it was number 2.
Yeah, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You've got a timeless hero who just happened to be black, and nobody cared because absolutely stunning performance, great storyline. That bit just kind of, like I said, it almost removes the mythos, which then why have it? Because if the whole point of it to be a mythos so that the god gets worshipped.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see a thesis being written around the concept of presenting a black anti-hero that needs to perpetuate his legend in order to stifle the constant perpetual stifling of their culture. You know, of a culture that has always been shut down and closed off and seen as dirty and gross and, you know, just slaves. You know, they're not even human. So having this sort of revival of that and twisting it, it's just like taking control of the N-word. It's you rephrasing it. And that's literally what Candyman is doing, is saying, I'm not a victim and I refuse to allow you to make me a victim. And I'm going to perpetuate my essence, my vengeance upon those who killed me for all of eternity, as long as you continue, you know, believing, as long as I'm remaining in the collective consciousness. So I could see that type of a spin in order to justify it. I don't know that they ever even thought that deep into it. I mean, usually it takes
It's
someone of the culture to think like that.
Yeah, that's it being translated from English to Dumb Yankastani.
Right.
Just, you know, that's the way you have to be, because
well, and that's
it's
the
just
thing. It's
having
like
an entity, you know, a forceful entity that thrives in belief isn't enough, apparently, because it needs to be dumbed down and explained. Oh, the black man, so you have to be a slave because you're black, you know, you see it, don't you? Obviously.
Well, it's funny that you say Dumb Yankastani because it's made by a British dude.
I know, but he's a London twat, and they're tryhards. It's like Canadians. It's fucking nothing worse than fucking tryhard trying to.
It's like Canadians.
They're fucking woeful.
Oh my gosh.
So tryhards.
Oh, that's good.
Like, look at Canadian horror. We've suffered through quite a few of them.
Just recklessly slandering an entire.
And that's probably why he made it, because
It's okay. They're really polite. They won't.
What it was as well, because he's London twat. He's like, I can't feature them horrible northern people. I'm gonna cross the pond. Get me far away from the north as possible.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you had asked earlier if it would have worked as well, if audiences would have understood it if it was still set in UK. And I think because it's a global success, because it is very much, you know, one of those films that breaks all boundaries, I don't think it matters. If they would have scrapped the whole slave aspect of his backstory and had it set anywhere else, I think it would have been just as impactful and powerful.
Because
the only thing
the
I would
rest of the
argue
movie kind of disregards the first part.
Yeah.
When we get into the actual, sorry, Carmen, did I jump?
See, the only thing that I would argue is the bonfire, because in the short it makes perfect sense. I mean, it's set on that side of the fucking pond. It's set on, bonfire night or whatever. So it makes sense that they're burning shit. But here it's just like, what's that? Oh, that's for the bonfire. And then that's the only mention of it. And it's just like, okay, I guess we have to accept that they're going to burn a giant pile of garbage in the middle of the ghetto.
That was the most tragic look. In fact, you see,
I know.
You got in Northern Ireland, you get kneecapped. If you produce a bonfire like that, you get fucking kneecapped.
Jeez. We love our bonfires over here.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, looking at
that would be a kneecap offense.
So goddamn funny.
Producing a pile of shit like that. Fucking men in balaclavas would be having a word with you with baseball bats, because fucking how dare you?
That's how we do Wicker Man, okay?
Right.
You guys
throw
have
a
like big
mattress in
tall
there.
structures. We can't deal with engineering. We just throw shit on a pile and
Mhm.
we're done. Let people
Actually,
crawl into
what-
it.
We'll actually make huts because they get guarded because rival gangs steal the wood and stuff. So there's actually a hut built in until night time.
That's fucking awesome.
We have to attend one of these.
Yeah,
bonfires
yeah,
over there.
absolutely. I want to so bad.
So weird.
11th of July.
What's that?
Hmm?
What's that?
Well, the ones in Northern Ireland, 11th of July bonfires.
Oh, really? Is it a holiday?
Yeah, it's basically they represent the beacons that were lit when King William's army came to liberate
Ah,
Ireland from the Jacobites.
okay,
There's a whole
that's cool.
I
King
thought it had
James
to do with like Gondor
busy
or something.
French got
like that.
involved and stuff. Weird.
It definitely had to do with Gondor initially. They just repurposed it.
Light the beacons. It was actually that's what the beacons were. Believe it or not, they're historical value because his beacons are actually to line the way for armies so they know where to march.
Yeah. That was, of course, Tolkien. You know, he's just referencing his own history in order to sort of make up those stories anyway. So yeah, makes sense.
And of course, the 5th of November ones are getting rid of traitors as well, which is always approved of.
I had no idea there's a whole bonfire culture. Like I really didn't know.
It even goes back, you know, man. It's the whole seasons and celebrating seasons and stuff, you know. And oh yeah, it's a big thing. As I said, we've got standards. These have been built over thousands of years, so
Cool.
standards have to be maintained. That would be, in fact, you wouldn't even let if you'd slap your kids. If your kids built that, you'd slap them.
Now go in there while we burn it.
Grounded.
It's your penance.
Yeah, you don't get to light it or watch it.
I mean, I just saw it as like a refuse pile. They were just burning, you know, all the junk that was in the projects. I didn't think of it anything as like a event. I mean, the short story presents it that way. But as far as the film, I always just thought,
see, if they spend a bit more time on that, yeah, 40 less cigarettes. I just feel like they spent a lot of screen time smoking. A lot of screen time with ashtrays.
All I'm smelling watching this film is cigarette smoke and shit.
Yeah.
That's it.
Like steel shit too, not even like a fresh one that you're like, oh, that was my curry last night.
Oh.
Well, I mean, yeah, if it was curry, you wouldn't be able to get those crisp edges on the letters. You'd just be kind of like, I don't know what that says.
Do not approve of this conversation.
Yeah, these are the things that we have to discuss, Adam. This is the important shit that people want to hear.
Okay.
I still think I like honestly it's on the screen, but why have I spelled it?
Right. Smell-o-vision's real.
I just love the way she freaks out. The character of Helen, she really is like she is head in the clouds, privileged upbringing, like no idea of reality, even basic reality.
Well, even the way she walks into projects. Well, we have our trench coat, so we'll be fine. Yeah. Bitch, you're gonna get raped and killed. Like you don't do that,
right?
Like you don't fucking do that.
It's like it's cool. We're dressed like cops. They're just gonna assume we're cops.
Yeah,
and then she's talking shit on her friend, like loading up her bag with a bunch of fucking pepper spray and tasers. It's like, no, that's what you do. like
I used to go buy drugs from the projects down in Midvale, and I wasn't safe. And I was just this rock and roller kid who had no, who gives a fuck? I felt unsafe. If I was a fucking white girl, no, never. It's dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the only reason why she wouldn't recognize the threat of danger is because she's a privileged white woman. That's it.
Well, we definitely get that too when we look at the apartment and like, presumably she's not really that old, especially she's a student at university.
Yeah.
And there's all these pictures of her around the fucking world. And it's like, obviously that was a picture from when she was younger. So it's like, man, what kind of fucking kid gets to do that shit? Oh yeah. Rich white kids.
Yeah. Well, and the fact that she has the token black friend, and then she's like showing her this condo that we live in used to be projects too. Everyone look at all the cement and stuff.
Yeah, that was an odd scene, but it's almost like they had to explain that why there was a hole in the wall in the project when it went down. It's like, once again, they're just saying that really could have been cut out.
Yeah, I did like it there.
It was all right,
Because
but
it made it so that she wasn't safe even in her own home. You know, the idea that literally anyone could come through that mirror. And like
for
that
me, it
that's
kind
really-
of works because it negated the need for her to almost map out when she's in Cabrini Green, because she already understands the layout of the apartment. So she's confident being able to walk around knowing this is where this is going to be, this is where this is going to be. And it's less, chance that she comes across the hole in the wall, because she already expects there to be an entrance. Like, oh, well, this is the apartment where all the stuff supposedly happens. So if we get into this one, because it's not locked off, we can access it through the window or through the mirror.
right.
So kind of like, I mean, not that there would have been a problem if we cut out, like 30 of the cigarettes and put it all in her discovering
negotiating
the apartment.
How much
I
more
think-
plot time versus cigarette time could we have squeezed into this movie?
Yeah, so it could have been cool to see her discover it fresh, but I don't know. Like that little aspect of it does kind of get rid of her needing to.
It's a very clear screenwriting explanation, though. They're like, well, we have to lay the groundwork for how she knows to open the thing here, so we started over here.
Yeah,
like that's just how they write scripts.
It could have had a map or something. Like the thing. One of my niggling things is there's supposed to be students researching for a thesis, and they're not very organized or methodical. It's very airy-fairy. It's almost like an art project as opposed to an actual study.
Right. It's like the only thing she does is she takes one roll of film with her and she records one person's conversation, and that's it. It's like I would have been recording the maids when they were cleaning out the classroom and shit.
Yeah,
like that would have made sense to record them.
I thought she started that.
Oh, did she?
Yeah, when she brought them in and shook her hands, and she started the tape.
Oh, did she? I
yes,
guess I missed that part. I don't think I've ever paid attention to her actually hitting.
I've never actually seen this movie before.
Yeah, this is my first time watching it.
This is where that's good having a few people take it from different angles. You concentrate on the important bits like the shit, and I'll look at the bits that depresses. you go right into the detail and the consistency and where the carrots are.
Yeah.
I was just trying not to be obvious, looking at her tits all the time. I was just like, all right, she was doing something. Okay, I'm not looking. Right,
it's hard because she's goddamn gorgeous.
So distracting.
Yeah. She's too good looking.
I just I'm like proper simping at this.
It's like that cartoon with the wolf with the tongue.
Oh yeah,
rolls out of your mouth.
100%.
Just floating off the ground. Blah, blah, blah. I mean, the reality of the whole Candyman resolution was to me a little bit confusing, especially the direction they ended up taking the series, because was he gone? Like they don't. Is it like a sort of like a payoff thing where she is also now a Candyman, where he is still perpetually in Cabrini Green at the simultaneously? Like it because it doesn't ever clarify, especially when the whole purpose of his approaching to her is to get his mythology and life back. Why the fuck is she forever? She was a victim. Are all of the other victims running around in their own little ghost worlds tormenting people? Like, is this like a telephone conversation? You just sort of ping new people each time. So I understand, like, for the end of the film, they wanted to have a great moment of Trevor getting his comeuppance, but I don't know that they needed Helen to be that. It could have just been Candyman, like,
or another set of kids or something, or somebody else repeating the myth or the story being told.
Yeah.
Like, there was enough in the short story that, they could have taken a wee bit of that. Like, the conversations and people, when they're talking about him, they could have just had that reverberating around the block again.
Yeah.
Oh, and she had the baby in her hand and she came out and, he was standing there. We saw him in the flame. that's a bit where it's cheap, and that's why I said the whole Trevor, the fact that the Helen and Trevor whole thing between them just felt like filler,
Mhm.
and a bit because it kind of took away from the story a bit. And
Yeah.
I think
Well-
we're lucky enough that the stories, you know, what I mean, the whole idea of the story and that everything else is solid, but those bits just you're going, why?
Right. Well, especially after reading The Forbidden, it's like, man, they could have gone just a little bit different with this, and it would have been much closer to the short. And that's so. I mean, this movie has always been a bit of a love story, anyways. Like that at its core, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Is his just undying love for her because of what she can do. Like essentially, she is his eternity. And of course, you get that in the movie a little bit because I mean that he's essentially a suitor throughout the film,
Mhm.
but I feel like in The Forbidden you get that so much more. Like it's literally like, look, I want to make you my victim because this will give you eternal life.
Yeah.
You can choose to live if you want, but I love you and I want you to die with me, essentially.
And the thing is, you had two actors to do it. Like they had the chemistry.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
They
that's
did.
like Tony Todd in this. I
Like
mean,
this wasn't
he's
fucking
terrifying,
Twilight. Do you know what
but
I mean?
right?
Oh yeah.
It's like he's terrifying in this, but he's also so regal and just charismatic that it's like it works so perfect.
Oh,
They
I would
could have
fuck
really
him.
drawn that out.
He's so goddamn cool in this. When we first introduced to him, and he's just sitting there with his hands behind his back, looking up, and you hear that deep baritone, Helen.
Oh my god, it's so
Oh,
beautiful.
it's so dope. Oh, I love it so much. And then his shoe, the whole time I was commenting on his clothing too. Just like, look at those dope ass fucking shoes, Sean. Those are great. She's just like, shut up.
Yeah, the man had swagger, you know, no doubt about it.
Mhm.
But that's what I mean. I think we've talked about this with directors. Just need to put their own stamp or
Oh,
do
yeah.
something. You know what I mean? And why they feel the need to do that when a faithful adaptation can put them in the, you know what I mean? That's what a director's job is, to take material that usually someone else has written and just translate it on the screen. But for some reason it got twisted, and directors feel like they have to be the writer as well and like the sole creator, and it becomes their artistic vision, and you're like, why?
I don't know. I feel like for an adaptation, this stuck pretty true to the feeling of the story. I mean, obviously there's significant differences and layering differences, but in a whole, like I still feel like he stuck to the main points of the story. And I mean, clearly this was made over 30 years ago and we're still talking about it. So I think he
Yeah,
did
this is
something
the
right.
exception, I think, to that normal rule.
Yeah,
Is
absolutely.
that when he is making his stamp, and he adds on a whole bunch of extra lore that wasn't there originally, but it worked. Like every single bit of what he added to it. And so I think what it comes down to really is respecting the actual original story versus wanting to do your version of that story. You know, like directors coming in and seeing a Stephen King story and being like, "Ooh, I like that. I bet I can make it better." And then, you know, you get the deviations on theme. But in this one, he was like, "No, I loved that short story. I'd love to option it and I'd love to make it. Not my version of it, it." And I thought he did a brilliant job.
Oh yeah, like none of us are saying like we're this is coming from a place of love, but
Yeah.
nerds are going to nerd. You know what I mean? We're gonna scum the territory.
Yeah, well, and I feel like because he was friends with Clive Barker, so I feel like if he had, done him dirty, there would have been a lot of problems. So I think
There
that
would have been
might have
some
been
anal
part
stuff
of
going
the
on.
What's that?
There would have been some anal stuff going on.
This is how I punish you and enjoy myself at the same time.
Well, I mean, you get the obvious Barker reference when he's like, the pain will be exquisite. It's like, oh god, that's just like the sexiest fucking line in this movie, and every time it gives me goosebumps. I love that shit.
So subtly, like, yes, spank me, daddy. I was sort of drifting along, you know. See when she's doing the sort of dream sequence, I'm sort of watching the TV going, yes, I'll be your bitch.
Yeah.
Like, But then only Barker can write that sort of weird erotic stuff, like in a load of shit, like literal shit, and you're still there.
Yeah, it is weird.
That's why none of his stuff works. If people don't get Barker, that's why it doesn't work, because they're like, who is this guy?
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't imagine not appreciating what he puts out. Even as obscure and strange as it can be, even the most disgusting, vile stuff, like I really enjoy. Just the idea of, like, for example, a demon on a street corner jerking it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Why?
Spitter Blood, your choice.
Yeah.
Fucking
Like,
classic.
so good. Like, how do you not love Clive Barker?
Like, I feel like when the unfortunate day comes, that needs to be on his headstone.
Spitter Blood, your choice. Oh man,
that's the most Barker line ever.
Right.
I can't wait for that adaptation.
I don't know. Okay.
No, just
little...
the fact that the studio's trying to dodge right that, but
there would be meetings about that line.
Right.
I don't want it to actually get made. I want them to try and make it, and then just watch the fucking faces go white as they realize what they have to put on screen.
All right. So, Dream Barker adaptation. What do you guys want to see?
That hasn't been done yet.
That hasn't been done yet.
I would love,
or
to
that
see...
hasn't been done properly.
Oh. There's two that I would love to see. Well, arguably, almost everything he's ever written, I would love to see an adaptation of. But the Aberrat series, where Disney did option it for a number of years, but they never ended up making it, would be amazing. The Books of the Art, if that could be made into a film, all Lord of Illusions, fuck, that'd be amazing.
That would be pretty dope.
That's mine. What about yours, Colin?
I'm fucking trying to think. You put me on the spot. I'm trying to remember that one with the swimming pool.
Isn't that the one right after the Forbidden?
I think it is. It's in the same book. It's the Books of Blood one.
Yeah.
That one was, with the mermaids that are eels that are sexual, and this guy keeps coming back to this abandoned swimming pool.
Mm-hmm.
That
Barker.
Yeah. That one, I just can't remember the name of the bloody title, would be amazing, but it has to be done in its full, unashamed, sexual, fucking erotic, with people going down plug holes and stuff. It just has to be that. Like,
so it have to be bones. Like Guillermo del Toro.
Yeah, that would be amazing, actually.
Yeah, but with a spiky dildo.
Yeah,
he could do that. He could pull that off.
I mean, it has to have the chaps and the fucking leather harness.
Yeah.
So
Guillermo del Toro doesn't do that. I mean, that's a bit where Barker goes, where he can't. He goes to a place. What I mean?
Yeah, you get those two together. I could see that happening.
Yeah, exactly. I think if they collaborated, you could come up with something great. Because I still fantasize about Pan's Labyrinth.
Oh my god!
I was going to say that's
so good.
That's the closest del Toro got to that griminess.
Mm-hmm.
But he shied away from being complete. Where Barker would dive in, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, shape in the water.
Del Toro just needs his nipples twisted a wee bit more just to get him there.
Heighten the nipple clamp a little bit.
We've lost loads of years, by the way. Freaking people like the counts just went.
No, fuck no. They're like, yeah, no. This is the shit that we're all thinking, but too scared to talk about.
We've all left.
Nope.
Sorry, we're scared to chat. Sorry, live viewers.
If you don't like it, fuck off.
Right.
This is how we roll.
But see, for me, like, my dream one, I don't know how the fuck they would do it. Like, and I don't know who the hell would do it, but Cold Heart Canyon.
Yeah. That
is one of my favorites, and I would love to see that be done.
That would be great. I feel like is it Aronofsky that did Memento?
Yeah.
I think he could do it.
Yeah.
I think he'd do a great job at it, actually.
Yeah, I could definitely see Darren.
Even the guy who did the Facebook movie, The Social Network. I feel like he could probably pull it off.
Never saw.
Oh, Eisenberger. What? Jesse? What's his face? Or do you mean the director?
Not the actor, the director. Social Network. Damn it! I gotta get this guy's director, David Fincher. That's it.
Oh yeah, definitely. I could see Fincher doing it.
That'd be
That's
dope.
funny. I didn't realize
wanna
that he did The Social Network. Now I kind of want to watch it.
It's good. It's good. I hate Facebook, but
Actually,
it's
for those sort of movies, like normally I don't bother.
Mhm.
That one was quite decent.
Yeah. And yeah, Nine Inch Nails doing the soundtrack. I mean, it was great.
Jesus Christ. I need to see this movie.
I mean, it's Trent Reznor, not Nine Inch Nails, but
Still, I mean, even if it's just him and Atticus Rose, like I'm 100% on board.
it's good. It's good.
There you go. Fun times. Always a
Now
fun
that
time
we've
with
lost
Barker.
everyone watching us, we should probably
Right?
I just,
Oh, like,
I just
these
swung
guys.
away. I just got the nipple twisting and just watched the count go. I'm like, fucking brilliant. I've achieved something.
Dude, it's like seriously, that's all we need. Just like get some BTS of like
People
them
go the other-
on set, and Barker's just behind Del Toro, just sitting there doing this shit. And yeah, I think that's a movie that we need. That would fix
I
all
want
the world problems.
I want the scene played out. Actually,
Israel's just peace.
you know the
Yeah.
director's commentary of Nightbreed. No, sorry, Midnight Meat Train.
The actor's
listened
commentary
to
on it?
No, the director's commentary. So Barker's sitting with the director of Midnight Meat Train, and Barker's telling the director where he basically stole Mahogany's metal vest to take home and play with his hubby.
Oh
I didn't
yeah,
watch it.
and no, but it was over the they're talking. I just want to see that played out, and I want Barker sitting there just wearing that and nothing else, while the directors, because you could actually hear the director physically freaking out.
Yeah, he does like the side eye a little bit, like
Because I think normies, when they get the reality of Barker, is like, oh, that's just. I just want to see that played out. I want to see Barker just do an interview where nothing else, just talk, just because I know people will be squirming. Like,
I mean, invite him on the show; he might do it.
Mr. Barker, look to have in the show, but here's the conditions.
Yeah.
And by the way, there'll be no viewers, but we'll be having a good time.
Yeah, there's gonna be no viewers, but god damn it, we're gonna watch this shit incessantly. This will just be on repeat in the rest of my life. It's gonna be somewhere in the background.
Oh man. Well, there you go. That absolute classic. You know, in 30 years still cracking on. The fact that it still gives you something to talk about shows,
and it holds
what
up.
we're missing today.
Mhm.
Yeah,
It just holds up so well.
Well,
the
and
visuals, the effects, nothing feels cheap.
I was gonna say that's
dated.
partially to the fact that everything is physical. There's, I mean, the fire, that's all, you know, fire bars in front of the camera and behind the scene. The bees, I mean, that's notoriously that's real. Everybody was covered. That was 2 days of a shoot, and everybody there got stung. Like, just every aspect of this, it's just like, that's why practical is necessary versus fucking turning everything into a goddamn cartoon.
Yep.
You see the life, you actually feel the danger, I know, and so, you know, taking a cost, putting them in danger is a good thing.
Yeah, fuck them.
Yeah.
Make them earn their pay.
The meat puppets have to,
absolutely.
you know. I hope that went in negotiations that we'll have to start putting your actors in danger again because you're shit.
Yeah.
Right.
And stop thinking you have fucking reason to give social commentary. You know nothing about fucking anything. Just look pretty, get stung by bees, get your nipples twisted, fucking do your job.
I think that is the
That sounds like a great
best way
show.
to close out this show.
Yep. On that, get your nipples twisted.
Fuck yeah.
Well, thanks again, guys, for being here. As always, it was twisted. It was beautiful. It was dark, and yeah, we managed to fit in talking about a movie as well.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks for having me, man. I had a great time.
Always a pleasure. I think coming up with you guys.
What?
In the
Anything
near
coming up?
future, we've got a review coming out next week of talking about the original Star Wars novel.
Yeah.
That I'm fucking stoked on.
Adventures of Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, written by good old Uncle George.
Well, ghost written by Alan Dean Foster.
Well,
George can't write that shit.
Yeah, it's so fucking funny that, like, on the, because I've got the Del Rey version, like the trilogy, and it nowhere does it say ghost written by, and it's like, yeah,
Sorry, I didn't say do the episode now. I just said what's coming up.
I'm just so excited.
No,
We're
we're
on a high
going to
there
be
with
talking about
Nipples
British
tonight.
baking show here in a little bit too.
Fuck yeah, we are.
We haven't
That's
scheduled anything for
random as
today
fuck,
yet,
but
but
sure.
it's awesome. Come watch us talk about baking. It usually doesn't end up with baking. It's a
No.
lot of nipple twisting and me bitching about
That's
the deaf
on
girl.
Evil Live, yep.
Yes.
All right, folks, there you go. Check them out. And as always, keep
I
up
didn't
to
tell
the
you to do
channel.
the show now.
It would just have an extended stream that goes on to
This is the
everything. Right?
commentary.
Here's a section closed. On the next.
Right.
Right, folks. So there you go. Go up to the channel, do the typey clicky thing, twist your nipples, and until next time, keep it creepy, keep it horrific.